Hey guys, what's up? Back with a new video. Today we're going to be talking about RNG in Black Desert. So RNG stands for Random Number Generator, and all MMOs have RNG as a core element of gameplay. The drops you get, crits, skill procs, and a number of other features in MMOs all rely heavily on RNG. Now BDO has all these features, but they kick it up a level, kick it into overdrive, and then kick it up 6 or 7 more levels. There is a lot of RNG in BDO. Here's a quick list of all the things that are RNG in BDO, and don't worry, we're going to be going into a more detailed explanation of each one later. Enchanting and fail stacking, the marketplace, the night vendor, monster knowledge, pet tiers, death penalties, random boxes, horse breeding, and worker rerolling are all heavily RNG dependent. And there's more of that, but these are the big things. So let's start with the biggest one, enchanting and fail stacking, because this is really what everyone knows BDO as an RNG dependent MMO for. So when you're upgrading your gear, there is no guarantee your gear will upgrade. Up to plus 15, you can force upgrade it, but it costs so much that players really don't see it as a viable alternative unless you've got tons of silver to burn. This can feel really, really bad RNG-wise, because if you're unlucky and you're in the bottom 5%, your gear upgrades could be delayed for weeks or even months once you get to certain points, because you're constantly having to search for more memory fragments, more black stones, more sharps and hards, and your gear not only stays at this, does not stay at the same level, it actually downgrades. So you're putting all this money and silver into the game to get worse gear out of it, because of how enchanting works past duo, past plus 17. Every time you fail, you go down a level, which means to get to the maximum tier currently allowed in the game, plus 20, you need to succeed 4 times in a row. To duo, to try, to tet, to pen. And if you fail on any of those, you'll go back down a level. Building off that, accessories are even worse, because accessories, they don't go down a level, they blow up. If you lose an accessory, if you're trying to enhance it and you fail, you lose the accessory and you lose the second accessory that you had to use for that copy. This means accessories, especially harder to get ones such as blue or boss accessories, take forever to drop and cost a lot of money, because every time someone fails, they're taking more than just one of the economy. They're taking 2, 3, 4, as many as it took to get to their current upgrade level, as well as the one they just lost trying to do it as well. And the accessory drop rate is terrible. Drop rates in BDO for most decent items are pretty bad. If you want black stones, you get about 7 or 8 an hour. If you want items such as boss accessories or blue accessories to drop from normal monsters that drop them, so they have them in the loot tables, for example the Schultz necklace from Wandering Rogues or Mains, you have to farm for hours on average just to get a single one. And the Schultz necklace isn't even a great item. It costs like 6 million silver on average. If you want an item such as the Ogre Ring, be prepared to kill dozens or even hundreds of ogres just to get a single Ogre Ring to drop. And they do have a sort of fail-safe mechanic where ogres will drop soiled Ogre Rings, which can turn into real Ogre Rings if you collect 100 of them and turn them in. But the drop rate for that is also pretty low, so you've got to collect 100 of them and turn them in, which still takes a long time, and you'll probably have at least 1 or 2 real Ogre Rings by then. Now, continuing off that, getting your gear from dropping is obviously, while a decent method, very time consuming because of the drop rate. If you're unlucky, once again, it'll take you forever. So most players turn to the marketplace. But the marketplace in BDO is also RNG. In most Western MMOs, the auction house works like a Western auction. You bid on an item, and the person with the highest bid wins. In BDO, it's more like a silent auction that has a bidding limit unless you have a pre-order. And the pre-order is also RNG. So if you put in a pre-order, and you have the highest pre-order, you win the item. Unless the item ignores the pre-order and just gets sent straight to the marketplace. And the chance of this increases based on the number of items that get sold in the marketplace of this type. So if you want something like a dandelion and you try to pre-order it, the chances of your pre-order going through are much less than the chances of a pre-order on iron ore going through, because there's a lot of iron ore on the marketplace and there's not a lot of dandelions. And then, even if it gets through to the marketplace, so your pre-order failed, now you've got to bid on it. And now you've got to hope that you, taking your random number, win the lottery and get to win the privilege of buying the item, because you still have to pay the money even if you win the item. Now, expanding off that, boss gear can also be gained from two other methods. You can kill bosses for it, which a lot of people do every day because it's fairly decent money, but still takes forever to get an actual boss item from. Or you can go to the Night Vendor, another heavy source of RNG. Boss gear dropping from bosses is acceptable RNG for MMOs because everyone knows that this is how you get gear in MMOs. You kill the boss that drops it, and it drops the item. The Night Vendor is basically a failsafe because the drop rate on boss gear is so low that we need other ways to get it. So we go to the Night Vendor and we spend 50 energy and we roll, and we get a pack of 5 Blackstones. It used to be 1 Blackstone, but they took pity on us and now we get 5. And we buy that for a slightly reduced price, and then we roll again until we're out of energy and still have no boss items because they only offered you boss gear for classes you don't even want to play. If they offer you a ninja short sword for 350 million, you're probably not buying that if you main a wizard. Then if you main a ninja, you're probably going to be offered a ranger bow. And you probably don't play ranger either, so you can ignore that as well. Then there's monster knowledge. So we'll move away from items for a bit. Monster knowledge is, as anyone that's played the tutorial knows, you kill a monster, you have a chance to gain knowledge about that monster. And the higher level of knowledge you get, the more benefits you get. Increased damage, and supposedly increased drop rates from that monster if you have an S tier knowledge of the monster. The problem is, you only get the knowledge once, unless you're willing to go and forget the knowledge. If I get a C tier knowledge about a monster, I cannot slowly upgrade that knowledge through killing the monster several 1,000 times, as I kill most monsters, to S tier. I have to go forget the knowledge and kill the monster again until I eventually, luckily, get the knowledge, which could just be another C tier, or even a B tier, or an A tier, but still an S tier. So I forget the knowledge again and keep doing this until I get S tier. And this is just annoying. Like, it doesn't even make sense. If I'm learning about monsters by killing them, why does killing more monsters not let me learn more about them? Why do I have to go forget about them? What do I do that makes me kill monster number 727 differently from monster 127, which gave me a C tier knowledge, that gives me an S tier knowledge? Or even sometimes you'll kill the first monster and you get S tier knowledge. Did that monster drop some book on the anatomy of orcs and trolls in Black Desert? Who knows? Still RNG, for no reason at all. Then you have pet tiers. And this is probably the most cash grabby RNG in the game, because pet tiers directly influence the amount of silver you get from grinding, the most profitable silver per hour in the game. So your pet starts at tier 1. Every pet that you get will start at tier 1. And then, by grabbing more pets and smashing them together, you can upgrade your pet's tier. But that's RNG. So most people say that 2 tier 1 pets at level 10 should combine together to make a tier 3 pet. But if you're unlucky, like me, you'll get a tier 2 pet. Then, 2 tier 2 pets should get a tier 3. 2 tier 3 pets, or a tier 3 and a tier 2, can get a tier 4, but there's also a good chance they'll only get a tier 3. You can spend hundreds of dollars and get really unlucky and end up with just tier 3s. Which, I mean, tier 3s are still good, but if you're spending that much money, you really deserve a tier 4, especially with the price of pets. Then, we have death penalties. So death penalties, as we've discovered, are not actually as RNG as we once thought. When you die, the crystals in your gear can break, and if you're red named, then your gear itself can also downgrade. However, it's been discovered that most likely the crystals in your gear, if you have enough of them in your gear, will break before your equipment is allowed to downgrade. So if you're a red named player, try and keep your gear fully crystalled up so that it won't downgrade. However, even this is all RNG, because which crystals, if any, will break is RNG, and if you're on a negative karma ult, even your gear downgrading is RNG. The punishment is RNG. If I'm trying to get my gear to downgrade so I can try and fail stack on it again, sometimes I will spend 10 to 20 minutes just resurrecting myself in front of these guards and having them kill me over and over again and hoping to see enhancement level of top or shoes has decreased. And instead I just have to keep resurrecting and pretending I'm some sort of virtual masochist who likes being killed by guards in front of lots of people at the Velia storage. It's stupid. Then there's event boxes. So in Black Desert, most events will reward you with boxes. And these boxes you then open to get a Blackstone or a Cronstone. And then the very lucky few can also get boss gear or good accessories or really nice stuff from them. But for the most part, you'll get a Cronstone or a Blackstone, and you'll be happy with it. In my day, we got nothing, and we were happy with it. But some people get Ogre Rings, and some people get Kazarka boxes, and some super lucky people in certain events get Dandelion boxes. So, RNG. Then there's horse breeding. So horse breeding, as I've explained in the video, is RNG. Just like with enhancement, you can use fail stacks in enhancement to influence the result. In horse breeding, you use the level of your horses, the tier of your horses, but it's still RNG. If you have a pair of tier 7s, you are not guaranteed a tier 8, even if they're both level 30. If you have a pair of tier 6s, you could easily get a tier 8. Not easily, but you have a chance. You could have you could have two level 1 tier 6s breed and get a tier 8, and you'd have a tier 8. And then you could try to make that a dream horse, because for some reason RNG blessed you and your tier 8 was a courser almost off the bat. You learned all the skills within the first 10 levels, and you took over the dream horse thing, and you brought all the stuff, and you got a dream horse in your first try. But each of these has a 1 or 2% chance, so the odds of all that happening is very slim. Most dream horses will take people many tries and lots of silver. Most tier 8s will take many tries and a decent amount of silver. And most coursers will take many tries and a large amount of pearls, or real money, because making coursers takes real money, because that's how horse breeding in this game works. And you will enjoy it. Finally, the least impactful on the game, really, because it's so easy to do, is worker rerolling, as well as worker promoting. And worker rerolling is you just take 5 energy and you go to the work supervisor and you roll for workers until you get a professional, an artisan, human, goblin, giant, whatever you're aiming for. And you hire them, and you keep doing this on all your characters until you have all the workers you want. And then if you didn't get professionals and artisans, you can promote your skills or whatever workers you've already hired. Every 10 levels, they get a promotion chance, which is once again RNG. And that's another chance to get high level workers. And workers are very important. But the RNG there, it doesn't feel too bad because 5 energy is really nothing, and you can easily get an empire full of artisan professional workers within about 2 or 3 weeks if you just dedicate your energy to rerolling. So, in conclusion, Black Desert has a lot of RNG. And as a game, Black Desert is this RNG helps Black Desert's progression system, because Black Desert has a sort of infinite progression system without the gear treadmill that other MMOs rely on. Instead of constantly releasing new and better gear, Black Desert always has the same best gear. Sometimes release side grades, but it takes forever to upgrade this gear to the best possible upgrade level, and there's still no one in the world that has full pen. So this RNG is needed to prevent people from getting full pen without having to release new tiers of gear and make the old tiers easier. And that can feel good because you kind of feel like your character can always progress upwards without losing your progression if you step away from the game for too long. But it can also feel really terrible because weeks and weeks of work can end with absolutely no progression at all. If I spend 2 weeks building 1 billion silver so I can attempt to tet my Kazarka or my Dandelion, and I get unlucky, I could end up with worse gear than I started with. So not only did these weeks of work end with no progression, I in fact regressed and went backwards in my progression. So for those of you thinking that maybe you want to play Black Desert, if you're okay with RNG, Black Desert's a great game. It's very fun, combat's amazing. But if you don't enjoy RNG, you want to get on for 2 or 3 hours a night and feel like you've made some sort of progression, no matter how small, then Black Desert is probably not the game for you, because the amount of RNG in Black Desert is just stupid. Anyways guys, thanks for watching the video. Subscribe if you like it, and have a good one.